Good evening. It's Elizabeth Diamond with the Diamonds Network here to introduce our brand newest show, and that is Voices from the Alternative World. I want to let you know that somebody's breathing in the phone. They need a *6, please. Okay, so I want to let you know this is reference 302 pound for the recorded line. And the new recorded number is up on the Diamonds blog. That's Diamonds with an S Forever 31.blogspot.com. Show's 302 pound. So, and they have a special guest. So, the good news, you need to hear Monday's call. That was yesterday's call. The link is up on the blog spot. We talked about the free energy release, the Keshe Foundation. Oh my God, this is a great big piece of candy for the whole world. You shall be excited about that. And also on the show last night, we did a powerful prayer, Law of One, and we crumbled some more of the matrix. I'm going to leave that as a surprise for you. Go listen to Monday's call. It's on the blog, and it'll be uploaded to YouTube soon. And Voices from the Alternative World have been having some really good shows. Go listen to all of those on the YouTube. Diamonds YouTube, the link's on the blog. So this is October 20th, I think, 2015. Yeah. So welcome, Dale and Sunny for the Voices of the Alternative World. Take it over, guys.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This is Dale Blomé, and I would first like to call upon Sunny to invoke the Law of One as a start, and then introduce our guest speaker. And Sunny, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
All right. So we will now focus on the Law of One, which is one of the fundamental laws of the universe. We are all one. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. And I am one with all there is. Therefore, I ask that only that which serves the greater good of all concerned happen here and now and throughout all time and space. Give thanks that it be done, and it is so. So be it. Blessed be. And now I have a very special guest, another old friend of mine who I shared a communal experience with 40 or so years ago in the One World Family Commune, and her name is Jeani, and she's offering a woman's perspective on the experience, and she may even discuss the Maui experience some more, since we didn't hear too much of that from Joseph. So I am very happy to introduce my friend Jeani. Here you take it away, Jeani. And you may just, talk about anything that, talk about your experiences in the Berkeley Commune and anything that you might feel moved to share about your participation. Jeani, are you there? Jeani?
So, Jeani, you may have your phone muted and you may have *6 muted. Just press boldly *6 on your phone. You'll hear that's unmuted or muted. And if it's unmuted, you might have pressed mute on the phone too.
No, am I unmuted?
There you are.
I hear you now. Great.
Okay. Great. You can hear me now.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't quite understand the muting part, and I'm new to this. So thank you for your patience.
I meant to explain that to you earlier, and I forgot. But anyway,
that's okay. I knew there'd be something, Sonny.
We're all here now. Yeah.
Well, the here and now, that's kind of a walk-in. That's how the One World family started off with the Here and Now restaurant. And it's because the here and now is the only presence there is. And we're in constant state of evolution, evolving our minds, hearts, and spirits, bodies to into a newer, more formidable way to live together. And what happened in Berkeley that Sonny and I shared was a gathering of people. There was a lot of communes started back at that time. Not a whole lot, but people looking for alternative lifestyles. And so what made it so special is that we all came together and put all of our resources together, and nobody drew any wages, and we celebrated life together. We cooked up. We started a restaurant on Berkeley, Telly and Haste, and Sonny probably can tell you the history before that. But that's when I came in, and we made everything from scratch. We bought all natural organic foods and created meals for the whole Bay Area. And it became very popular, and we expanded into a pizzeria and an entertainment hall and a clothing store. And we did things like airbrush clothing, and had a great bakery, and we supplied the food. The deaf school down the street, and everybody started to get a feeling of family when they came in. It was able to feed so many people because we had what was called a Zen plate, which consisted of soybeans and rice and a green salad and a piece of bread and butter. And that was only for $1. And it was big helpings, and it was all fresh and ready to go. And we had a juice and many other things. We all shared 4 different fraternity houses. We had about 100 people and about 25 children, and we all took turns. I was handed the opportunity to do the scheduling for everybody, and it was a lot easier when I set it up as sort of a collegiate experience. In other words, you would get a schedule, and one person would have, for example, say 3 hours working the juice bar down at the restaurant and 2 hours vacuuming one of the houses. And there was all kinds of different jobs, like chopping the vegetables, making the soups, making the dinners, doing the pizzas, and the entertainment hall was really fun because as a group we used to vote on whether we were going to put the price of a cup of honey for 5 cents. That was a big dilemma because honey is from the bees, and we all kind of thought, well, it should be free, and yet we had to pay for it. And at that time, we didn't have, we had to still work within the parameters of, what was available. So, and then we danced. We had big dances. We had big gatherings, and people danced and played, and we even closed the streets on Telegraph and Haste and danced in the streets with everybody. It was a really refreshing, wholesome experience, one that I still miss today. And we all grew in so many ways together. We live by first cause, which means do everything in the proper, right, positive, honest, integrity way, so that we would be giving to ourselves as we would give to others as we would ourselves. And I I don't know. Sunny, you want to say anything?
Yeah, that's beautiful. I was just thinking that it was really the glory days of Berkeley back then. You know,
it really was.
It really felt like a community. You know, people would just come by and drop in, and you know, it's not that quite like that anymore. Although I remember when I visited, the rainbow was still there over the archway of the building that we had, although it turned into a record store. But yeah, the rainbow is still there, so that was beautiful. And also, our artists made a wonderful mural on the side of the building. And,
Charles Lobdell,
right. And we were right next door to People's Park. And I remember at one point there was a little bit of a ruckus there, and you know, and we were hiding in the walk-in because there was tear gas being thrown around. I remember that. But there were some adventurous times that we shared.
We were in the front lines.
Yes, we were.
I put my apron down across the bottom of the door so the mace wouldn't come in.
Oh, right. Yeah, you remember that too. Yeah, it was kind of chilly in there, but it kept us away from the chemicals.
Well, I didn't go in the walk-in. I was up front and center, trying to bring. I was snatching people off the street, knocked over in the head, and some of them did. So, revolutionary time.
It was. We were, like, one of our songs was Spiritual Revolution. Somebody's sung it. I have to ignore it. Spiritual Revolution. If it wasn't for money, you know, all those, our band Quasar, and so many of the musicians there do some really wonderful songs and music and light shows.
Really before their time, music.
Right. Yeah, and I remember the light shows I did with Chris Plant at the time. My name was Sunny Plant, and it was really fun doing those light shows.
That was great.
Yeah.
We had the Fairfax Street Choir come, and they did a performance for us, and we had, I'm trying to think of his name now. Do you remember the fellow who did all the chimes? And gosh, you guys have to forgive me. It was a while ago.
Oh yeah, I know. There's things that I don't remember. I mean,
the cosmic beam.
Yes, Francesco something. Francisco. Yeah, I remember him now, and I was reminded of him.
Yeah, he had music with all these different xylophones and bells and chimes, and he made the most outrageous out-of-body type music. It was so spiritual and just like the stars would be chiming in space. Yeah, it's really one of those that just kind of carried you away, transported us. Yeah, and I was involved in photography a lot, and I did a lot of work in the photo lab. Called it photosynthesis. Yeah. Very creative stuff. Yeah, it was a lot of creative people. And then we went to we had a restaurant in Sacramento. I know you were involved with that. Jeani, right?
You told me you helped.
That's when I helped Chris.
Yeah, right.
Chris.
Yeah, our Chris Chris Burns, his name is now, and he's the one that I recently contacted, and he has a wonderful project in Oregon called the Sharing Gardens. And
have
also
you shared that yet?
He hasn't been on the show, but I've shared it on my Facebook page. Have you shared it on this line? I've only just briefly touched upon it. So, I haven't really gone into it, and I asked him if he'd want to be a guest, and he's very busy right now, but he may in the future.
That's wonderful.
So Yeah, he's just he's.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and he has that, and it too. I mean, he's following the principles that we were involved with in terms of producing food to, sharing in the production of the food and distributing to the community, and being free to all people, especially the people that were involved in growing it, plus spreading it out to the community. And this is what he's doing. It's called the Sharing Garden, and so it's not for money, it's not for profit. It's just to help feed people wonderful, organic, healthy food. So he also has a mini, I guess, commune. He's calling it a church. He's calling it the Full Circle Church. And that both of these items are on the internet, on blogs, and I've posted them recently on my Facebook page. So I'm still learning. I just learned about the church a couple of days ago, and so I'm still learning about that. But it sounds like they're really embodying the same principles, in a very down-to-earth way, and they want to be able to reach people in the surrounding community, not freak them out when they can think they're a cult or there's some weird cult or something. Just so and people coming and helping, and having university students come and help out too, and being a kind of an educational facility for people that want to learn more about gardening and communal living and community outreach and everything like that. So
he seemed to be very inspired with his new friend Lynn. They started off with just inside of a little trailer and just things that were around, and then people watched them growing their first little garden and started to come over and ask them what was going on, and they told him, and they said, "Wow, can we be a part?" And he said, "Sure." And they all started growing this most incredible. Chris has been growing gardens for about 40 years. He's incredibly good at it, and is a very organic person. And so he and his partner started this garden, and it started to grow. And many people started to come, and as they grew, he gave them, organic seeds and a piece of property to grow it on, and so the garden got bigger and bigger. And he's been interviewed by a TV program and explained to people that the garden is for everyone, and that you're free to come and grow, and you're free to come and pick, and they share with all the local communities that need food, and it's going without. They have everything they need. A person came and donated a house to them right by their garden, and so they don't have to pay any rent, and so their overhead is very small. And if he said that they that if they needed nails or screws or wood or anything, that the community just chipped in and did it, brought it to them. Mm-hmm. So that's really that's a true example that they are really right on and serving, and so they're being supported for doing that. It's really beautiful to see that. The pure principle of giving and receiving.
Yes.
And which provides when it's why the churches go. What did you say the name was? It comes around. What goes around?
Full circle. Full Circle Family Church. That's what he's calling.
Right, and that's kind of an example of what it means. That it's full circle. Whatever your needs are, they become manifest, and it creates more of an abundance. And what happens is, if you don't desire to have these things, and you just want to produce a way of life that's alternative. This is a good example of starting from scratch and growing outward and meeting all the needs and starting to include the different schools and teaching, and it expands out. They have health clinics that are connected and all sorts of. It just keeps expanding.
Yeah. Yeah, if he's calling it, and it is a demonstration, as we did back in Berkeley and in the days back then, we called it a communal demonstration of a way of life, and that's what he's doing. So he's carrying on that demonstration, and it seems to be inspiring people in the area, and people getting involved and giving them support and of all kinds. So I'm very pleased to see him that he's doing this. He and Lynn, and apparently they started the garden in 2009. Yeah, 2009 they started the garden. And there's a lot of information about it on the blogs that he's put up. The garden.
Yeah,
and the
that's
church.
Fairly recent that he's put up his second set there that brings in the church, which is wonderful, because what it means is that we're all brothers and sisters on this planet, living and sharing and caring for each other. And if things were, if we just did our part, then the next part happens, and the next part happens,
right.
And everybody serves each other according to need and ability.
Yeah, the song, if it wasn't for money, what would we be doing now? Serving each other. What would we be doing now? Loving each other. That's been resounding in my head lately.
I believe it.
Seems very appropriate, and things that have been coming through recently regarding this catchy free energy device appears to be helping lead the planet in that direction. To do away with, gradually do away with the money system. And recently, of course, on the other show, Monday show, it's announced that the Federal Reserve is no longer under the control of the European bankers that are ripping everybody off.
Is that? I didn't even hear that. Is that true?
Well, this was announced last evening, and others here on the call would probably know more about that. Candy and Elizabeth. That it was said that I didn't read anything directly about it, but that the military came into the banks and released them from those elitist people that have been running them all these years. I just heard about it on the show. I haven't read anything about it online or anything. But
well, that's fantastic news if that's true.
Yeah.
It also goes along with that. There is tremendous amount of spiritual energy being poured upon the planet right now, and people are enlightened. They're tired of the old ways, and they want to learn to work with each other without all these lawyers and money systems, and those are all archaic and obsolete.
They are. Yeah, they're not. It's not the way nature intended it to be. Returning to living according to natural law and the way the nature and the universe operates. So it's really we're just taking a deep breath and assimilating all these energies that are coming through, and sometimes they're very powerful, and sometimes they knock us for a loop. Been experiencing a lot of that, but it's like riding a wave, and the wave has been carrying us along, and this show is a strong part of it, and I'm very grateful to be a part of this show and all the shows that we've been doing and all the people involved in the shows. So I'm very...
Well, Sonny, I've only heard you and me so far.
Okay. Anybody else?
Anybody else on here?
They're here. I know they're here. Anybody want to have any comments about what?
This is Dale, and
yeah.
I was as I was listening, and putting this thing together, and in any economy, okay, when you talk about what makes up an economy, the fundamental foundation of any economy is a unlimited or abundant quantity of agriculture at a low price. So if you're looking at a country to invest in, that's the first thing you look at is agriculture. Do you have the ability to sustain yourself? And so the pivotal foundation of this new age is agriculture, and the other column is being vegan. Because the minute you go to a plant-based diet, there are hundreds of billions of animals consuming water and land that in order for them to grow the animals, they have to use this land and water to produce the food. So the minute you go into a vegan foundation, you eliminate all that use. You free up the land and you free up the water, and so it's actually a critical part of sustainability, and putting aside all of the spiritual and health benefits that go along with it. So you start compiling a list of the reasons to be vegan and the reasons not to be vegan, and all of a sudden it comes down, well, I like to eat meat, and then there's a thousand reasons why it's better not to.
Right.
So and so it's become and you start reading books like Colin, Dr. Campbell, and he was I forget which university he's from, but he actually had a 15-year study in China that comprised 50 million Chinese with his colleague, and what the animal proteins do to your metabolism, it actually creates an environment that produces abnormal cells and promotes their growth, which is really the cause of cancer. So,
it's like eating dead food.
Yeah, Dr. Colin Campbell, and that's
what I mean.
And
what did you want to say, Jeani?
I wanted to say that Dale's exactly right, and what you put in your mouth, meat is dead, so putting it in your body is deadening your body. It's an obvious thing. Where life-giving foods, the Creator created all these wonderful foods for us, and they're already prepackaged. We don't need plastic or any of that. It all comes in its own little package, like nuts and foods. They have their own little skins, and everything is prepackaged. So we don't need that, and the meat is a process of taking you out.
Yeah, it's so cruel, and the energy that goes into their fear and their horror and all of that's in the animals when they're slaughtered and their miserable lives. Most of them in the meat industry are. So all that goes into
the industry has made it so that there is an overabundance of the animals, and if it's a regular farming situation, you have a few animals, and you use the fertilizer to help the garden, and it's a circle.
That's the way it used to be done. We can say, people in the old days ate meat, but they had their own animals, and they're really in touch with the whole process. Whereas today, most people are, they aren't really in touch with what goes on, and how the animals are. If they were able to go in the slaughterhouse and see the conditions and see the way they're treated.
Awful.
I mean, it's a yuck. I'm not going to be meeting. It's
a horrible situation what's going on with animals. Yeah. And Dale's right, but all the methane that is created, that's giving a bigger than any of the cars and everything else. I mean, yes, they're bad too, but the methane is really overproducing. And I was thinking about this, Sonny, about getting a ban on diapers, plastic diapers, What a waste.
Throwaway stuff, yeah.
Well, I think the issue here, and the science, it's here, is that whatever we produce has to be biodegradable and recycled in the atmosphere naturally and in the environment. So they may be throwaways, but they'll be healthy throwaways.
Right.
That's the whole.
Well, so that's what I mean. You're
right.
Yeah.
Something that will
that's biodegradable is much more better.
And
a whole lot more with cycling. We could.
And I wanted to dominate the conversation, but the other issue with agriculture and diet that going to be what we're doing now is just as toxic to our environment and to ourselves with food as cigarettes are. And the other thing that's toxic is violence, and I mean violence in any form, because this is what really and the physics and the biology is there to support it. That emotion of love and that state of being in love and that state of well-being is the normal, healthy vibration that our bodies resonate with, and it is the healthiest condition. So if we're going to get rid of disease, we've got to get rid of the anger and hatred and all these negative emotions and all these negative behaviors. It's like we got to clean up our insides and our spiritual being, and when we do that, our environment around us will change. As we change our thinking and our behavior, our reality changes. And so those two things, practicing nonviolence and being on a plant food diet, I think are the hugest things that we can do to change our world. And we do that on an individual basis. And so and that keeps it real simple. Love one another and love each other and to treat each other as we would be treated. And that's where the law of one and the Charter for Compassion and then on those foundations we build communities and build and create an alternative world different than this, different than what we have.
We truly have to. Yeah.
Go ahead, Sonny.
No, I was just saying that what Dale talked about is foundational, really, for creating harmony in a commune or in a community, community or community.
And you have been blessed to see how people who are mainly vegans, vegans on Maui, have created such a vast community, and all have been serving each other, and that's why they call it the Maui family, because it's a family. Everybody helps each other, and in all realms, through music and dance and vegetables and gardens and all natural foods and co-ops and etc. And they're doing everything individually, but together.
Yes, the environment is very conducive to a vegan diet, and because it's such a warm climate. Of course, we can do it anywhere, but it just seems to be a lot of people over there that are following that diet. Maybe the natives aren't, but that's what they're used to their
they're
pool
starting
and all that. Yeah.
We're having an effect on a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
like Dale said, just doing your own thing is also helping create it for others, because your vibration rises, and it rises other people's vibration just in being in contact.
Yeah. Well, it's a powerful. I know, Jeani, you were living on Maui for a long time, and I was in the late 70s and 80s, and it's really quite a powerful place. I mean, it's very beautiful, and then there's such powerful energy, with all the natural elements, and also we've been studying about it being a part of the ancient continent of Lemuria, or Mu, and but I won't go too much into that because that's a deep subject. But anyway, it just kind of it adds to the energy of the place, and the Haleakala crater, House of the Sun, and all of
it's
that.
as far east as you can go without going east. Mm-hmm. And it's the point between east and west, and it has multiple nationalities that reside on the island.
Right. Very cross-cultural.
So it's a huge melting pot.
Yeah. That was
which also states that, it's not a language barrier or any kind of barriers. I mean, people are heart to heart there. They, they don't judge you. There's not very much judgment there. There's just, who you are and what you're doing.
Of course. Aloha. Yeah, aloha. Yeah. Just what that means. That's a pervasive.
We all go and share in occasions over there. I mean, vegans come to big celebrations, and there may be meat served there, but they don't take that. They just eat the vegetables and things. And, it's nobody judges anybody. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, live and let live. And how?
Yeah, because once you decide that you're this, or that, like in the One World Family, for a while there was a feeling you couldn't talk to anybody who ate meat, like, oh my God, that's so gross. But when you create that, you're creating a veil. A veil of separation, and so you don't have the benefits of whatever that other person has as a gift.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know, and I was raised vegetarian myself, and of course in the One World Family we were vegetarians, and I guess we did eat some cheese, but that was about it. Most of it was vegan, and so that was pervasive in my life, this vegetarianism, veganism, as I grew up and then there in the One World Family. So, we
had the best food. We were so spoiled.
Yeah. It was great that we were able to serve those Zen plates, for so cheaply.
And they were delicious.
The next thing that comes to my mind is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. And so, we're
hang up?
That's
a joke.
I know. I got it. I got it, but I got to lose my fist. Listen, my brain is kind of flighty, so I got to kind of focus. Otherwise, I forgot what I was saying. So I'm always reminded. Well, what I have to say is that important. But in any event, in the room is okay. So now we have this embryo, and that's growing. And the thing that's happening up in Oregon that you mentioned, the Sharing Gardens. The fact that the growth is there is the market for spirituality and cooperation is here. Okay, we can grow it. We just got to do the things we need to do. So what do we do with the world at large? And there's only one thing that resonates in mind, and That's love your enemy, you know. And wherever you can, if you have an opportunity to try to persuade somebody gently to come in another direction, that we don't have to live this way that we presently live in today's world. It's a matter of choice. You know, you choose.
That's right.
You know, you choose to join the army and go to Iraq, or you choose to do something else and be peaceful. You know, so and freedom. And this is there's a school of thought in theoretical physics that actually that freedom is a necessary part of it's actually the gravity or what makes the gravity in the universe is the freedom of the DNA to develop undisturbed, you know. And there's some thoughts. There's actually, it's like the pebble that's thrown into the pond that starts the hurricane. Well, when you change the microbes and get into the DNA and start changing that DNA, what it eventually evolves into is stars actually explode because there's an absence of gravity. You know, the natural order of things is disturbed, and so. You know, and with that is the electrochemistry of positive thoughts and love. It's a biochemistry problem. You know, that our thoughts are real and they're causative. They create action and motion. And what our actions are the same thing on a microscopic level. And on a macroscopic, you know, larger, you know, astronomical mega plane. So this universe is inevitably and integrally linked together by this glue. And when we get in there and put those boundaries and stop the freedom and stop the growth, you know, we actually are injuring the universe, you know, on a large scale, and that's pretty profound, you know, to me. That you know, from small little infinitesimal events, massive astronomical things happen, you know,
right.
and that's the connectivity of the universe and us with each other. And so this consciousness,
the law of
you know, and this consciousness is something that we really are, you know, my uncle used to call it creator consciousness. You know, we have to always be very conscious of that. You know, thoughts are things and words are things, and there is a causative effect that causes things to happen. So we're all responsible within ourselves to follow this inspiration for the benefit of everybody. You know, we're not just doing this for ourselves. And it ultimately affects us and the world around us by what it creates. You know,
it creates a vortex that
Absolutely.
radiates out and bounces off of everything else, all other people. We're connections. We're all connected.
So, you know, where we work as individuals on an individual level, you know, you've got to be very, very careful about the thoughts that you select and the thoughts that you entertain, because they become real. You know, and there's a billion thoughts, like a gazillion electrons flying around, and you're all free. Everyone is free to individually to choose the ones that they want to grasp. So make sure those things, those ideas that you entertain, conform with that concept. You know, so you're a contributor to good and goodness.
Well, one of the things that I've been doing is studying. You know, studying different ways of beings and the inner workings of the people, and for myself, I realize when I get out of the way of myself, and I just open my heart and my mind to God, universe, higher being, I receive what I need to have or need to do or, need to say. And one of the things I've been working on is setting up an example of giving and receiving. Most of the country is set up on county by county situations, and they have all the demographics of all the different projects and whatnots that are going on in that county. And if you put a supplemental project in place where volunteers could come and write down, it'd be a supplemental income type situation where if I was a nurse and you were a plumber, and this is just an example, that maybe your mom just comes out of the hospital and she needs some care for a few weeks in a step-down program from an operation. So I could do a trade with you, and it could be straight across the board, or it could be, you just bank it in the skills bank, and you keep, so when you when you need something, you can, cash in. Like this one lady, there is this situation is being developed in many different ways across our country and in the world. These different programs are starting to, become manifest, and one of the companies or one of the groups, co-ops, they have an equal 1 hour of labor equals 1 hour of labor. So it doesn't matter what your vocation is. It doesn't matter at all. So, like this one lady, for an example, she drove lunches to the elders, and she racked up 36 hours and more than 36 hours. But she she requested an hour from 12 people, 3 hours from 12 people, and had her whole house painted for that. Now, if you were going to have a painter paint your whole house, it would be much more costly than it would be, see how easy that is? It switches over.
Yeah. Well, this is part and parcel of the inequity and injustice in a money system, because some guy that doesn't do anything but really go on vacation to the Bahamas has a lot of paper, and he just orders people around him, and he does nothing. So we have to have it.
That's why if you don't put something in, like you can sweep a floor. Anybody can, sweep a floor. People that are in wheelchairs can count pencils. I mean, whatever it is. It's an hour's worth of labor, and if you had in each county, you had a skills bank where all the things were recorded. When you needed to have that or become a part of it, that's what your exchange would be.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant, because it does. What it does is it gets rid of the fictitious values and say who's valuable. Well, we are. The human beings
are. Right.
Yes. Right. And that's the mantra, that we have to put the value.
Even the doctor has to have his grass cut, I mean, there's
exactly. And what about his garbage taken out,
Right,
or his dogs walked, or any other number of things. We all need each other. We don't.
Correct.
In this system, we don't need anybody. All I need is a dollar bill, and you can see the havoc that it's wreaked on the humanity. It's a caste system. Some people are worth nothing and are worthless. And that, you know,
it's a system that's obsolete, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a broken, obsolete system, just like the military is an archaic system that needs to be put back into service. Like it should be like more like serving people, you know, helping rebuild the bridges from a hurricane, helping do those kind of things, you know, and be here.
What we need, and it's been mentioned by many people, we need not only a Department of Defense, but a Department of Peace, so that we you know, well, I'm not interested in going to war and killing anybody, but I will work anywhere else to help my fellow citizens, you know, in some constructive fashion.
It's all transitional, and for you and Sonny and myself, all of us just putting the energy out in the air, I already see it manifesting. From the time that Sonny and I were in the commune, I've seen so much manifest from the energy we put out back then.
Yes, so have I, yeah. I mean, people say that, oh, that was just back then, times have changed, and, you know, a lot of people kind of go, well, you know, they kind of thumb their noses. They say, no, it's not realistic and all that. But looking back, the world has changed, you know. I mean, there may have been a lot of attempts of the cabal, which they continue to have control, but the people have been rising in consciousness and been doing more and more to help the planet, you know. Just been seeing it growing all these years. You know, it's been a real process.
Here's the question in closing, and I'll put this to both our guest speaker and Sonny and whoever else has an answer. You know, the result of this is that is Darwinian. You know, the strong survive, and if you're a loser, that's because that's the natural order of things. So in contrast so what have you discovered in your journey? What is the real nature of man? You know, is
love. And love, meaning love is service done. Love isn't just a concept. It's actually rendering your ability to match someone else's need. And so that eliminates the guy who is going to be eliminated because he's not strong enough. It's going to be the stronger ones that help. You know, it's going to be a combination of love is service done, service rendered to each other on one high standard.
The strong help the weak, and the wise help the unwise.
Well, we all help each other. It doesn't matter if it's like, say, I have a bad back, you know, but I can really cook.
You
know,
right.
Or I can pull some weeds, or I can, you know, I'll sit down on the ground and do stuff. Whatever I can do is what I can do. Now, if somebody comes over and says, hey, Jeani, you know, let me reach over and grab that bucket for you because it'll make it easier for you to blah, blah, blah. So, you know, that's the principle that's the Godhead principle of life giving to life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was specifically speaking to this train of thought that says, well, my IQ is 160, I'm smarter, so I deserve more. You know, when I say strong health,
that's what I said. The doctor, you know, and the guy doing the lawn. I mean, the doctor can take out his, you know, or can help him if he gets an infection, or, you know, needs his care, or his brother, or anybody. You know, it's a connection.
Yeah, well, the strong helping the weak and the wise helping the unwise. In this way, in this system, if you're smarter, then you have the ability to use your intelligence to manipulate everybody to serve your desires.
But you see, that's not true, because you're not smarter if you do that.
Well, but I'm saying...
Because you're only going to get that one thing you're looking for, only that one thing. Maybe it's the green buck or whatever. But if you're smart and you give, you know, you receive. You don't... So you give without thought of remuneration, and all your needs are met.
I'm agreeing.
They aren't in balance. I mean, they're serving self.
I'm in complete agreement with you, but I'm just telling you the rationale for this system. It's
yeah, but to me, that system is obsolete. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, today, as we speak, it's very real, and the romantic gestalt of I come, I see, I conquer because I can, because that's the natural order of things, is in place. Now it's decaying, and it's not as strong, but it's still carrying the day, you know.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You're talking about the rationale, the mind thinking of this system. Yes, you described it right. But I guess what? The system the communes you're describing tonight are great. This system that we lived in for so long was great. It was great. And what we're going into is going to be great. You know why this system was great, even though we were oppressed and all that? We are masters, and we need opposition to grow, to be pushed into our heart space and think about what is life really? Why are we here? Each individually and as groups. So this system rationale, it's that rationale, but it's still good if you think about it. And the community living rationale, that's good too. And that's actually the commune living, going into commune living. This system we're in now actually brought us to the point of love, so we can go into, the natural God way and even be stronger in love. It's like we're all God, right? And He's love. Well, we came to this system, and now we're going back to His natural state of love, but God is stronger in love today than He was before we went through the system on Earth, so.
And once again, I have this question.
Is purposeful. Everything.
This question that I have in this transition period is what is our strategy to be in harmony with this transition? And that's what I came up with. All we can do is love our enemy,
Well, that's true.
So that's profound.
Instead of spending billions of dollars on guns and bombing people and little children blown apart, we should be giving them food and shelter and care and all the things that they need.
Yeah.
That many billions of dollars, zillions, trillions of dollars that we've wasted in killing is preposterous.
It's obscene. And oddly enough, and this is going to send everybody back in their chairs, I actually, as everybody probably knows, I'm a big fan of Charlie Rose, and they had Senator John McCain. He's the chairman of the Armed Services Committee, and he's a warrior and a war hero. And he was talking to Charlie Rose, and his voice when all this conflict started in Syria was, and then they started to have the refugee problem. And they say, well, what we need to do is get some hospital ships to help those people with their problems. That would be a really intelligent foreign policy. But he's
exactly right.
Yeah, a small voice. You see, he's a small voice among many, but he got it out there, spoken, and that made it real. There's more productive ways and diplomatic ways and helpful ways to be diplomatic. We don't have to go with a gunboat diplomacy. We can
write letters and send information and promote our the ideas. Like when you see someone like John McCain put that out, write him a letter and say thanks. I thought that was a great idea. Let's go with that. And keep adding to the energy.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. That's what what is our strategy, and we should develop and meditate and think about what we can do to promote that train of thought, being loving and positive, and then we won't be making enemies. We'll be making friendships.
Right, and we will be leader of the world, showing the world how to be.
Exactly.
Instead of we're going to own the world, we're going to serve the world. We're going to give the world. That's why in the 60s, in the 50s, we had that kind of consciousness that was, what the other person said about that it was a love time and it got us where we are now. That's true, and that part of it is all coming back now. It's all coming out. We need to do, and Mother Nature is quaking and burping and doing all this stuff to show us how humble we are next to nature and God's ways.
Yes, absolutely.
It's going to take all of us to hold hands to get through it.
Yes, and we're holding hands across the ethers, even though we're separated in distance. We're holding hands.
As these communities develop, like the Sharing Garden in Oregon, each one of these are arcs that are going to carry us into the future. They're our refuge, and they're an example to humanity as to what we're supposed to do. It's a living models of what we don't have to do this way. We do have choices, and we just got to make the right choices and then make the commitment and do it.
The thing about sharing is it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Can I make a comment on that?
It's actually living.
Yeah. Can I make a comment on that?
Yeah, sure.
They did that back in the Bible days. Abraham, I think it was Abraham. Then he had a house, and he had gardens surrounding his whole house, and so, people would, he would just share his food with the neighbors and stuff. Mm-hmm. So the gardens, like your house is there, and you got like two or three blocks every which way of every direction around the house of gardens. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes,
yeah. It really is not a new thing. It's this returning to, this been done before.
After World War, during the Depression, they had victory gardens, remember?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
Elizabeth,
in our consciousness.
My dear executive producer, we've managed somehow to cover the larger bases, and it's only 6:34.
Well, great.
Yeah, that did great. Right on the dot, right? Yeah.
We covered it well.
It was a wonderful conversation, and I really appreciate you allowing me to join with you.
Well, it's our.
Yes, you contributed a lot, Jeani. Thank you so much for being here.
And I really love you,
conversation.
And listen
to what you're doing.
While we're on the subject, Jeani, if there's anything, any way, shape, or form that you have a way to be a part of this anytime, just let Sunny know, and bingo, you're on. You're in.
I'd be happy to.
Yes, you can join in any time. In any of the calls that you want to be a part of. Anybody can. Yeah.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, and I have really enjoyed this time together.
And Sunny, be sure to send your friend the link of this show once it gets up on YouTube, and so you can share it with your friends, Jeani.
Right on. That's great.
Yeah.
And what is your name? Are you Cindy or?
I'm Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. Okay.
Elizabeth Diamond. The Diamonds Network.
Yes, Elizabeth.
Oh, okay. You're Elizabeth Diamond. Okay.
Started all of this.
I'm just learning, Elizabeth. So.
Elizabeth is the boss. She calls quitting time.
Yeah,
you guys did
I
great.
loved your comments. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, she's the one that carries it along week by week. But it's great to be part of the team.
Sure is.
So we have your guest on, Jeani. We're the Voices from the Alternative World is speaking about the new things. People are jumping out of the matrix and starting things new, whether it be a community or gardens. What else can you think of that people are doing, or do you know anybody, or have you been looking on any websites of different things people do? Jeani?
Well, one of the things I was telling you, there's like 270 different organizations that are starting this. They have lots of people already involved in the 1 hour for hour, exchange.
Maybe we can find maybe we could find somebody to come and talk about that that's involved in that. That would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it would. As I was saying, that, yeah, it's been done. There have been various alternative exchanges here in Nevada County that have come and gone over the years that I've been here. But so, definitely is great to promote those kind of ideas of alternative.
We can work with some of the stuff that's already set up, like the county-to-county thing I was talking about. It wouldn't take that much to get like a supplemental income type organization in there. And once people realize that they don't need the red tape, that they can make the exchanges themselves. We have the computers now and everything to, work through all of that. So, we have all the, if you go into the demographics of a place, you'll see what they have available and what you could tap into. The people, it's about going and promoting it and, watching it develop, I mean, I've talked to a lot of older folks like myself, and they're just really excited. In fact, I talked to Governor Granholm and told her about that idea, and she says, "Do you have that system up and running?" I said, "Not right now, but I'd like to." And she goes, "Well, when you get it done, let me know."
Well, the Keshe Free Energy that's coming out, the blueprints in 8 days now, that will really ramp up the communes. They don't have to worry about paying energy bills or food or medicine it provides too. And anyway, you have to go listen.
I read about that.
What I'm saying, that's going to add to the communes that are out there, and that will just even boost, give more. There's a lot of people in this world on their hearts that they want to start a community, but they're like just tied up because of the money tool thing. But this free energy will untie these people from going to start these communities. That would be great.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth. I'd like to hear more about that. I mean, I read it on the article that Sunny sent me, but
Jeani, if you go to Diamonds with an S, Forever 31.blogspot.com, and it's like three blogs down. I blogged that. There's a YouTube of the announcement of that, and he explains it all. He announced it on Saturday in Rome, I believe. Was it Rome? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's
the article
I read.
Yeah, you can listen to that whole YouTube, and and then you can go to his site and listen to more. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so inspired.
Yeah, well, that's why we like to kind of be at the leading edge and talk about all these innovations that are coming forward here. And so, yeah, you can jump on any time and just hear and contribute to what we're up to here.
Well, I hope I didn't talk too much.
At the close, I'd like to mention that unless somebody else has another topic or a guest speaker, that next week I would really like to focus on the issue of plant food diet and get into some of the numbers and the details to clarify things, and the reasons why to be vegan would be the good. And I've got Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, and I've got an offering of Colin Campbell's book, and I've got an example of a recipe, and how important it is to have a balanced diet, and the organizations that have created these recipes that make sure that you get all the essential vitamins and minerals that you need to maintain good health. Because a lot of people go on a vegan diet and because they don't know any, haven't made a study, they become anemic or they're deficiency in one vitamin or another, and it's really, really, really important to do your homework and not just grab an apple and say, now I'm vegan, because you can have really serious health consequences.
Well,
okay, that's a diamond wrap.
Okay.
Good night, everyone, and
good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Sonny, if you want to say something, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to thank Jeani again for being with us in such a last-minute arrangement we made, but it worked out very well, and may our lights shine and glow and keep on spreading our inspiration and vision. So, and thank you, Elizabeth, for making this all possible.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. That was well said, Sonny. Thank you.
Oh, well, you're quite welcome. Thank you.
And keep on shining, diamonds.
Keep on shining.
Good night, everyone. Love
you
guys. Bye-bye.
Love you.
Love you, too.
Love you.
We're all one.